And so now what it's doing, it's recording the screen and my voice as I talk to you. And what's even cooler is I hit the little button on the pen, and I can then go, hey, in ugly brown, and I can write on the screen and do John Madden-y stuff on the screen, and what happens? It records whatever I'm doing. And so it basically, I haven't quite figured out how to do the live streaming yet. My son is working on that through his Xbox. I can Twitch if you want to, but you want to watch me drive a race car, it's fine. But, I'm not hip to young people things, and I don't default dance. But anyway, so so as soon as I'm done up here, everything will be posted back to Canvas. I haven't used this computer for the last couple months, so, well, since it's December, so month. Less than a month. Okay, so I'm a little rusty with it. But everything is on Canvas. When you first log in, here's a link to your book. There should be a link to lecture notes up here somewhere, which doesn't look like I've made, but I haven't done any lecture yet. Lecture notes! I did it already. Thank you. Okay. Huh? What? I don't know. I'm officially aged to that point where I can just pretend I'm just, as opposed to just incompetent. Okay, so I'll tell you about who I am and my background and stuff. But the lecture notes and stuff are right here. And what's cool about it is that if, for some reason, if you miss class, or if you're having trouble, or especially if English is your second language, I speak fast. Both of my kids had stutters because my wife and I speak really quickly. Sorry. Anyway, good morning. So everything that I'm saying right now will be recorded. The microphone only picks up about a 4-foot radius. So if I get excited and I go over and draw something, all of a sudden my voice goes, and it'll come back. I can also closed caption it. The closed captionings are very interesting. This computer has learned my voice pretty well, and it does a really good job closed captioning it. So it can actually produce a transcript of the class, but sometimes I'll say weird things, and you go, was that right? Yeah, I said that. Yeah. Okay, but sometimes the captions completely are worthless. So you have to, I will try to post it. It takes about double the time to render the videos if I caption it or if I don't. So anyway, so let's see. The other thing, there's something else about this. The book is right here. Okay, so if you want to buy a copy, it takes about a week or so to get it. So that's why I sent out an email a while ago about that. If you registered earlier. But if you want to buy it, it's $16. It's an open source free textbook. You just pay the printing cost. So when they're charging $200 for a textbook, they're making 100 and whatever, 200 minus $16 is. Okay, so again, it's not the highest quality printing that you'll get, but it's $16. If you rush it, it's 20. All right, but the PDF is pretty cool. I'm sure I have it downloaded here, but of course my Internet Explorer is not going to be responding. Ooh, it's actually working. Cool. If I had glasses on, I'd be able to see it, but if I go to downloads, my book should be in here somewhere. There it is. Oh no, Internet Explorer. I should change that association. Oh well, this is what it looks like. Okay, there will be a copy in the library. One of my students that took my class last semester, good morning, is putting one of these in the library if you don't want to use it on PDF. I really like the PDF version because you can do this. Control F. Search. Search function is awesome with the textbook. The way this textbook is written, each chapter is written by a different author. So each chapter has its own voice. So the way this textbook was put together is the American Psychological Association in project with NOBA, which I really bothered to look up what NOBA stands for. Okay. But I went to a conference and they were showing the NOBA. In the NOBA series, there's 120-something chapters you can choose from. Of special, people that in the field write a book about or write books about things. They donate a chapter to the NOBA. And so you can choose all these different chapters. So I stuck together 40-something chapters. We're not going to read all 40-something chapters, but some semesters we cover one thing, some semesters we cover something else, whatever you're interested in. So I have them all there. We're not going to read this entire thing, but it's really important that you go through and look at the book, because whenever you're learning a new course, you need to know the language. So it's the same thing as whenever you go learn a new language, you've got to know what the words mean first. You can get a lot by gestures and pointing, but if you don't know the difference between kitchen and bathroom, it can be a problem. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. That's that. So my name is Stephen Weinert. I've been teaching at Cuyamaca. What year is this year? 2019. I started here in 1996. I started teaching at San Diego State in 1993. I got my master's degree from San Diego State, and I taught Introduction to Sight courses there until 1997, when they said, go away. And so I got a high school teaching job. So I taught high school, Ramona High School, Go Bulldogs. I taught physical science, earth science, psychology, and biology, and math essentials. That's the class they always give the new teachers to see if they really want to be a teacher. You start out by, this is how you read a number. They set fire to my classroom more times than my science kids, and the science kids were allowed to play with fire. Nice work. Okay, so let's see. I got here full-time in 2001. I'm very happy here. My office is up at the top of campus in F510. If you need anything up there, I think the syllabus is loaded on here. Yeah, it is. Let me put this up here. I will have a printed copy for you tomorrow. And I apologize for not having a printed copy, because I had it done. I just didn't send it to duplicating. If you call my office phone, it goes to voicemail. I don't know the code to get my voicemail from my office phone. There's a menu that I could go through and reset it, but so text me. And yes, it should be 609. It actually spells out Psi Beta. It's our honor society here. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's a Google Voice phone number. That Google Voice phone number, if you call it, depending on how many students have called it in a particular semester, it goes to my campus voicemail or it goes to my cell phone, depending on how many people bug me. If you're don't call me like 10 minutes before class saying I'm not going to make it to class. Just text me, because where does it go? Actually, it does. I don't have my Google Voice turned on for this phone number on my phone. I have another Google Voice number that I use for illicit Craigslist deals. I'm a big bicycle fan, and I buy and sell bicycles on Craigslist a lot. And this time of year, ski stuff, but that's not important. Meet you in the alley behind 7-Eleven. All right. About a $30 Raleigh. Her name's Rusty. She's beautiful. Okay, sorry. But so that's I have that one goes to my phone, but it goes to my email. So I check my email constantly. Whenever the semester's on, I check my email all the time. I'm one of those email people. And so I know a lot of young people aren't email people. So email me. Text me. It's the same thing for me. I'll reply and it'll come through as a text to you. I apologize in advance for the annoying 4 o'clock in the morning text person. I get up early. We usually work out from 5. My wife and I work out from 5 to 6. I get up at 4 because I like to stretch before I work out because I'm old. And so I always get up at 4. I can go back to sleep if I need to, but I'm just awake every morning at 4. And it's really cold this morning. So anyway, basically I will reply back as soon as I see your text. So if you text me after 9 o'clock at night, so go to bed at 9, when am I going to reply back? 4 a.m., sorry. If you send me a Google Voice text, I will try not to, but I've done that to many people, and because I'm not considerate. Okay, so there's the link to Canvas on here. This course goes pretty fast. You guys are lucky because of the way the year lined up. Normally, the whole class is 12 sessions. You've got like 14 or so classes. 12 is brutal because it goes from 9 to 1, and it's intense. You got a little bit more time on your own for this class, which I like. Let me scroll down a little bit. Whoa, it's getting too big. Whoa. Google made a thing called a Pixel book. It costs less than this one, and it's got more performance, except it doesn't have the cool pen that I can't draw on. Damn it! But I wrote a grant to get this one, so I would not have chosen a PC. So This right here is the same thing that's posted on Canvas. This is what we're going to be doing every single day. How many chapters do you have to look at every day? About 2 chapters a day. The chapters are short, usually about 7 to 8 pages long, and it's not a lot of reading to do, but it's really important that you go through and look at, like, the little assignment I'm going to give you tonight is to just go look through the book. You're going to try to find experiments, which we'll go through and explain a little bit later. And I just want you to go through and look at the books, look at all the topics that the book has. If you're interested in any particular topic, if you let me know, I can spend more time talking about certain things and other things. Because if it's just me, I'm going to be talking about behavior in the brain, because it's food. But a lot of y'all don't care about the brain. Brain, whatever. Let's talk about disorders and personality. Yeah. Okay. Therapy, consciousness, touchy. Yeah. It's a really powerful, most important part of psychology, but I'm a scientist. You can't science your mom. Okay, we'll get back there. Let's see. So, let me go. I can't. A little disjuncted this morning. So, I went to San Diego State. I'm an Aztec. I went there. I grew up in Vermont, which is a very small state, very far from here. I grew up there to get out of the snow because I hate the snow. I like warm. I like desert. And of course, now my family has discovered they like skiing. So we go. My father-in-law owns a condo in June Lake, which is an amazing place if you've never been to June Lake. I don't think I've taken any inappropriate pictures. This is the kind of crap that I like to do while we're up there. So I had to get my fly rods out the entire time, well, at least while we were up there for a little bit. So it's 4 degrees outside, and I fly fishing in the parking lot. Anyway, so, I mean, there's our neighbors. They came up with this skiing this year. My wife doing a read aloud for her school. She's principal of Boulder Oaks Elementary School up in Alpine. She does a read aloud for her students every couple years. And so this time we sat out. It was really freaking cold as we're sitting there, so she's reading the book. There's me standing in the snow because I'm just fun that way. They're skiing. Here's my son. He wanted to ski down the double black diamond trails. I hate going down the double black diamond trails. I like big swoopy turns. But that's really freaking steep. But whatever. It's awesome. Let's see. There's a bad selfie. My daughter goes to Patrick Henry. She is a sophomore this year. She plays volleyball and is annoying. Any 15-year-old young ladies in here? Okay. My son's 12. He plays basketball, and he really likes skiing. He's actually gotten way better than I ever was in the 2 years he's been skiing, so good for him. Okay. Let's see. What else do you need to know? I think that's about it. So, what your job is in here is by the end of this class, I want you to leave with some general psych knowledge. I don't expect you to become, anybody a psych major in here? Woohoo! Thank you, at least one. Okay? I don't expect you to be as interested as the psych major in the course because most of you, this is a checkbox. That's why you take classes in winter session. What class can I get out of fastest? Okay, so that's cool. I'm hip with that. So at the end of the semester, there is a comprehensive final. What does the word comprehensive mean? That would be cool if I could actually measure if you comprehend something. But that is a mental process, and we can't measure those without behavior. So what do I need to study? What do I need to measure at the end of the semester? Yeah, the entire course. Luckily for you, it's so much easier than a semester-length course. A semester-length course, you have to remember everything for 16 freaking weeks. But this class, you have to remember things for 12 days, plus or minus. It's not too bad. You can do that. And so there's going to be, I have little midterms in here. The midterms are not they're all collaborative. They're not sit down, shut up, and take a test. I hate that. My daughter has dyslexia. I have attention deficit disorder. Anyway, and because we have learning disabilities in my family, I wasn't identified as ADD until my sophomore year of high school. I was in all the remedial classes. I was the only kid in my English class who didn't smoke. Okay, I did have the cool Metallica jacket, but that's irrelevant. But it was really hard for me going through my high school, and then all of a sudden, one of my English teachers said, "You don't need to be in here." You know, we're reading, in my sophomore year of high school, we're reading The Outsiders, which is a 7th grade book. And I read it that night. I'm sitting there. And he goes, "Did you read the book?" "Yeah, I read the book." Nobody else had read the chapter they were supposed to read. And he goes, "You need to be out of this class." And I go, "Yeah, but I just don't do well in the other classes." He goes, "Well, do you want to be here?" And I go, "No." And so they put me in the upper classes, and I did just fine. Except I was the kid in the back seat taking my pen apart, and I'm looking for the backseat folks that are taking the pens apart yet. Okay. But anyway, and my daughter was really struggling reading in 2nd grade. And what she were reading the 6 Little Pumpkins sat on a fence. A witch came along and did something, and then there were 5 pumpkins sitting on the fence. She goes, "All the pumpkins were were placed on the gate." She's reading the book. It's like, no, the 6 Little Pumpkins are sitting on the fence. She goes, "Well, it means the same thing." 2nd grade. I'm like, what? So if you have dyslexia, does anybody know what dyslexia is? What is it? Well, that's one side of it. You see things backwards because the sequence doesn't fit. So most of us have this side of our brain right here. It pays attention to what happened first, second, third, fourth. Your right hemisphere, this side, sees everything at once. The big picture. A lot of dyslexics read in this hemisphere. So they read the entire sentence and then see the whole picture and then say what it means. Not A, B, C, D. They see the unit. So if you're trying to answer a multiple choice question, does the sequence of the words matter? Yeah. Which one of these is not? That not is a really important part, but a dyslexic won't see that not until later. And it takes longer for them to process the entire sentence and take it apart and put it back together so they can understand it. Anyway, so with her learning disability, she does like 4 out of 20 on multiple choice tests, but gets 100% on essays. Why would she get 100% on essays? She sees the whole picture. She sees the big picture perfectly. In 3rd grade, she got queen of big ideas. When the teacher was talking the story, "What's the main theme?" My daughter's hands up. "What about the details?" "How's she doing math?" No. Because the details are important. Plus, minus, square root, 3, 8, whatever. Yeah. Okay. But she's an amazing little kid, just going through a very bratty phase that we've created. Okay. "Dad, there's not enough pepper on my avocado toast." I'm saying lots of words in my head, but I'm not allowed to say those in your family. Okay. So that's enough of that. Do you need to come to class? Yeah. The reason I say that is in order for you to technically receive credit, you have to have X number of hours in class. And a couple students last semester in my online class log in for about a week at the beginning of the semester and then were crickets all semester, and then a week before the end of the semester tried to log in and do all their work. Which I, use them, add it all up and go for it. But can they get credit for the class if they've only been in the entire class for 3 hours? No. Because it's not necessarily a how much work can you turn in kind of class. So every class we're going to be doing stuff. You're going to be bringing stuff to me. Okay, I'm not going to be grading everything religiously because I don't have enough time. During the semester, I have my wonderful little TAs that come lurking into my office and they fill in check boxes for me, but I don't have the, they're like life having fun or something stupid. So I don't have them this semester. But it's really important that if I ask you to do something, why am I asking you to do it? No, it doesn't need to be done. It will benefit you better the next day. And I'm a big weightlifting kind of person. I like picking up heavy things and putting them down. I don't know why. It's very satisfying to me. I've tried all sorts of other different sports, but picking things up and putting them down seems to be my sport. I'm a little bit squishy right now, but I'll be, in the summertime, I'm pretty fit, but right now it's skiing. Okay. I'm fat. That's basically what it is. So let's see. What else do we... Okay, so let's get rolling on what we're going to do. Y'all have any questions so far? Okay, I like an interactive classroom. Okay, I want you to be able to say things. If you're a happy introvert and don't like talking in public, don't talk. I'm not going to make you volunteer. But the people who get the most out of the class are the people that say stuff. There's no really wrong answers in psychology because it's not a science. There's a lot of how you think and how you feel because we study how you think and how you feel. And so by everybody being able to be comfortable to interact, it's so much better than I'm not going to sit here and tell you everything you need to know. I'm going to help you build what you need to know. Yeah. How often do you need one? Depending on, yeah. I'm kind of diabetic, so if I tip over in class, just you can leave and leave me some sugar. Just within a week, I'll get it. Now, I have type 2 diabetes because of my girth, but even though I was a track athlete in college, I used to pick up very heavy things, and I can't pick up very heavy things because I used to pick up heavy things. And because I've been over 240 pounds most of my adult life, my liver said, you don't need insulin. Just go for it. And so we call it type 2 plus diabetes because I work out a lot. I'm very in shape. I eat nuts, twigs, and berries. I don't eat crap, but my blood sugar doesn't regulate itself very well. So if it sounds like I've been drinking, I haven't been drinking. I don't drink very much. Actually, I did this weekend, but that's not important. June Lake Brewery, really good beer. You been there?
Yeah, I heard.
Awesome. Yeah, June Lake Brewery, they make the red, my favorite. Really, really good. Okay, now, but if you have diabetes, what happens when you drink alcohol? Your blood sugar goes all cattywampus. Yeah. So, and especially beer, which is mostly carbs and alcohol. Damn it. So, like, most of my food is, I'm keto, except not keto. I just can't eat carbs. Oh, it's terrible this time of year. Anyway, one of the bad side effects of eating too many carbs is you have to pee constantly because the blood sugar spikes and diuresis. So we'll take lots of breaks. Okay. So usually there's no clock up here, so if someone wants to say halfway through saying, hey, there's a clock on here, I can see it there, but I can't see it there. It's too small. But if someone wants to wave down at 10:30, take a go run outside, stand in the sun break, because it's cold in here. Okay. Okay, so let me see who y'all are. So I want to turn, let me create an assignment here. So we're gonna find out who y'all are. All right. So I get my grade book. I'm trying to learn not to use the keyboard because it works better in one of my other classrooms. Okay. I can see up here. Give me a minute. I'm from Vermont. Even though I've been in California my entire time, because you're turning red, is that you? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just wait enough time. Okay. I don't want, this syllable's killing me right here. Hanadi? Hanadi, okay. I almost said that in my head, right? Okay, so what do you think psychology is? I'm gonna go through each person. When you think psychology, what's the first thing that comes into your head? Okay, disorders, good. That's a lot of people think of us as that way. Good, thank you. Aya. Aya. Wait, is it how? No, how do you pronounce it? Aya. Okay. Okay. So yeah, same question. What do you think of when you think of psychology? Okay, brain. Good. Excellent. Amasa. I put an extra syllable in there. Sorry. Hamza. Okay, which one was that one? Okay, I heard a voice. I'm like, wait, where did it come from? Okay, what do you think when you think of psychology? I'm gonna start writing this down. Okay, so. Okay, this is a really important part. That's a really good part. Okay. Let's see. Masaba? Usaba. No. Okay. Adrian. Okay. What do you think? What do you think when you think of psychology? Okay. We're going to spend a whole unit on how people interact, which is really cool. Okay. Adam. What do you think of psychology?
Actions and stuff, so others, and the results of them.
I'm going to leave these two up there because those are new words that we're going to talk a lot about. Okay, excellent. One of the stupid things that I will try and do here by the end of the week is I'll be able to know every single person's name. I did this during the semester. It's really hard because I have like three or four intros, each with about 50 to 70 students in them. But there's stupid ways that you can learn to remember lots of things fast. We call them stupid human tricks. And so, good morning. And so anyway, so I'll try to get to know everybody's name here by the end of the week here. Brianna. Pinky up. Okay, disorders. So I'm kind of drawing two lines here. If you kind of notice this. Welcome. Oops, that's lots of extra points for you. Ashley. Good timing. All right. So what do you think psychology is? Just walking in right off the street. Okay, I'm going to write over here. It's funny, every single psychology like joke you see, it's somebody says, tell me about your feelings. So how does that make you feel? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say that a lot, sadly, because it does. These are really important. Andrew. Ooh. The philosophy. We're going to sneak into this idea, the mentalists and the physicalist people, philosophy ideas. Psychology started in philosophy. Plato, Socrates, Descartes, they all thought they knew about psychology. What's really funny is all the folks that wrote about psychology in the early O's figured it out. There's nothing really been new that they figured out. If you go back and read some antiquity literature about psychology, the stuff that those old guys thought about is the same as we are now. Do you think humans have changed in the last 2,000 years? Nope. Sorry. Okay, we're better because we have phones. I love you, Google.
As I just proved, you're pretty awe-inspiring yourself.
Or, wait, what is the airspeed velocity of a European swallow?
About 24 miles per hour. According to Saratoga.com, in the end, it's concluded that the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow is about 24 miles per hour or 11 meters per second.
What if it's carrying coconuts? Okay. That's the unladen swallow? That's, yeah, okay, sorry. It comes up a slightly different answer every time. Awesomeness. Okay. Is it Mikhail? Michael, okay. When you rolled, fix it now. The reason is because when I applied to San Diego State for early acceptance, I called them and I said, I haven't got any letter. Did I get accepted? They go, we don't have your transcripts yet. I'm like, yeah, but I have me a Steve Weinist, not Steve Weinert, and all the transcripts went to state and nothing happened because of that one. And so this is back in the 80s, but so I called them and they said, oh yeah, we'll fix that. Oh, here's your transcripts. Okay, fine. They're literally shuffling through a giant folder of envelopes. Scary. Fix it. Okay. So what do you think of when you think of the word the mind? Changing it a bit. Yeah, it's a big question. Humans haven't figured it out yet, so it's okay if you don't know. Okay, so I'm going to write this as mind over here. Okay? Good? Alexander.
I'd say like the nature of how our brain works.
Okay, so I like the word nature for that. That's good. On actually the back of the T-shirt that I'm wearing my Psychology Club T-shirt, it says nature to be commanded must be obeyed. Which means that if in order to understand the world, you have to know what the world can do. Okay, so let's see, one. So what do you think the mind is? Okay, so I'm going to write here. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me. Okay. Let's see. An EIJ. Okay, who is it? Did you? I was going to say something close to that. J's are difficult because depending on the language, you pronounce them differently. And there's no one good way. Okay, sorry. So Nejus, what do you think the mind is? Yes, the mind. When you hear the word mind, what's the first thing that pops into it? Okay, your thoughts. Okay, so there's mind right here. Good. It's interesting how people use mind and thoughts simultaneously. Oh, I changed my mind. What is that? Well, how do you change your mind? What is it? I don't know, but you changed it. How do you know if you don't? Okay, fine. Arun. Okay, what do you think the mind is? Brain. Good. Science people. I like you people. What is mind? Mind is brain. Prove it. No. Okay, good. Well, you take out the brain, what happens? Mindless zombies. Tell ya. Okay, good. Let's see. Siba. Did I say it right? Okay. So, what do you think the mind is? Thinking. So I'm going to put brackets around thought. You'll find out that part of my little attention-y issues, I like bracketing and putting boxes around things and drawing circles around things for no good reason whatsoever. It's fun for me. Okay. I keep looking here like I can see it. Fine. There. Okay, Arturo. What is the mind to you? No, that's great. No, the storage of these things. That's awesome. That's really good. Asaya. Damn it. Okay, Asia. That's great. I had an Africa and an America in my class. No, I've had Asia. Yeah, so you're a continent like Africa, so it's cool. Okay, so actually, Africa was my TA last semester. She was awesome. Okay. Her sister's actually named America. Yeah. Cool parents. Okay, so, and she works at Sprouts in Lemon Grove. That way. Okay. So if you see her and it says Africa on it, you go, hey! And tease her. She's super quiet and won't say like 3 words in a row, but super smart. Can figure out anything on the computer that you give her. Anyway. I'm sorry. So, I'm gonna change the question for you. How do we study the mind? Okay, so I'm going to write this over here. Ooh, I had my head stuffed in an fMRI this summer, or last semester. It was totally cool. So they do an MRI in your brain while you're thinking about stuff. Yeah, it measures the blood flow that's going through the brain at a particular time. Totally cool. Not because of any disorder, but because I'm part of a project called the SAGE study. So back when I was in college, they started doing psychiatric tests on me and like doing experiments on me. I never sent the poo sample in. I should have sent that in, but I didn't. But what they're studying is all sorts of different people throughout their life. And so I've been filling out this survey for the last 20 years. Every year you fill out this big personality inventory survey, and they ask you about your health and your aging and everything else. And so they're studying this longitudinally, looking at the process of aging across different groups. So I'm a part of the nerd academic group. And as a part of the nerd academic group, I got to get my head stuffed in an MRI to have me make moral decisions. There's a fat man standing on a bridge. Why is it important that he's fat? It doesn't matter. Okay. And if you push him off the bridge, it saves a family who's having a picnic on the railroad tracks. Exactly what I thought. They're stupid for having a picnic on the railroad tracks. Anyway, but if you throw the fat man off the bridge, it switches the track and it saves the family but kills the man. What do you do? Yeah, that's what they were measuring. Is they weren't measuring my answer. They were measuring what parts of my brain were used to make those decisions. And irrelevant of having the picnic on the railroad tracks. I mean, or the other one is you're in a whitewater rafting and the raft tips over, your kid goes one way, your wife goes the other way. What do you do? Got to save the kid, because your wife won't talk to you if you don't. But you like the wife longer than you've liked the kid. Women answer the question differently than the males, just in case, you know. But, always save the kid, because my wife wouldn't talk to me if I didn't save the kid. And my rationality is that my wife has a better chance of surviving than the kid. Yeah, you can. My neighbor kids are so much better than mine sometimes, so I'd rather... We just spent the weekend with them, and... Never mind. Okay. Was that Andre? Okay, so Andre, what's another way that we use to study the mind? So, following people over the course of time. Dallas, sorry. Okay, so, is there a way to know what someone's thinking? Science. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, scientifically, yeah, there's all kinds of different tests that you can use, but facial reactions, body language.
Okay, so I'm going to use that. Raha? Did I say it right? It's so much fun to say. Sorry. Okay. So Raha, is basically what she just said is if I'm measuring people's reactions to things, is that their thoughts or is that behavior? Right. It's behavior. Behavior is real. Well, how do you know? Wait, so Tara. Okay. Does your behavior reflect your thoughts? Right. So you can think one thing and do something else. I'm not very good at either. My wife knows when I'm lying. Did you use filtered water to make the coffee this morning? Yes? No. What coffee? Yeah. Up in that's a cute little picture. It's like almost like your dress matches the cake. Oh, cool. Okay. You don't get to see them that big. I usually can't when I'm just looking at it. Okay. We had the panda theme last semester. Everybody put pandas as there. Okay. Ariel. So is there a way that we can actually measure your thoughts other than with looking at behavior? Okay, so MRI shows the structure of the brain. Hanan? Hanan? Okay, so is there another way to see your thoughts? Okay, so the reflection aspect of it. Okay, so most psychologists love to sit down and talk to people. Okay, most psychologists sit down and do talk therapy. Keelani? Sorry, I put extra syllable in there just for you. That's a really pretty name. Okay, so why do therapists and psychologists talk to people? So I'm going to write this over here. No, you're right. Well, actually, you can learn a lot through people through what they write as well. But I think that's huge, especially physical closeness also works really important for relationships. And especially when you're doing therapy, the relationship with the counselor is huge. Because are your behaviors real? Yes. So you can hide. How many people have sent an email and edited it before you sent it? Please do. Okay? Because when you have to write something down, it requires significantly more behavior than if you just say it. So can things slip out when you're talking? Yeah, I do that all the time. Sorry. Okay, and because if something slips out, maybe that's a really window into your thoughts through this idea of language. Okay. Ronaldine? Hi. You ain't from the South, are you? That's a good South thing. I'm from Vermont, so Vermont's exactly opposite of South, but I had a roommate that was from Texas, and so I learned to say y'all. And so I became like this Vermont guy with a Texas accent after the end of the semester. So anyway, so Ronaldine, what do you think, what is language? No, it's okay. It's a hard question. One. Wait, is that you or the other one you? Didn't you respond already? Oh, I scrolled back up? Oh, who noticed that? I didn't notice that. Oh, is it over? Oh, T is the last letter? Wow, usually Cuyamaca we get 2 or 3 Y's and Z's. Okay, fine. So that's cool. Okay. Go ahead. What's your name? Tomas. Okay. So, I forgot what the question was. Oh, what is language?
A tool for communication.
Is language just communication? We put somebody up here and see if she has language. I'm really kind of creeped out a little bit about what Google knows about us. So if I search my images for a picture of dog, what shows up? Dogs. Well, and for some reason, me with the GoPro. So this is our little dog. Her name is Nani. She is a Bichon Frise poodle mix. We call her Fluffy. Her name's Nani, but because when we got her, she was not Fluffy. But once we got her and got her to the groomer, she became uber fluffy. I have an uber fluffy picture of her in a few minutes. Here she is looking at my niece's guinea pigs. What is she thinking? Okay, so I want to eat them. What else is she thinking? Yeah, what is that? Okay. If I open up, I should be able to go to that date. There we go. Here she is becoming even more interested in guinea pig. So, how many people think that the dog wants to eat said guinea pig? Well, the guinea pig's sisters, who happen to be named Bentley and Bromwin, which are giant labradoodles, each one weighs about $1.20. They call them the Muppets. I'll find a picture of them in a minute for you. They want to eat the guinea pigs. Bentley even tried to eat one of the guinea pigs. Oh, put it out. Guinea pig's like, bleh. Okay, Chewy, the other one you can't see in here, is brown like Chewbacca. So they call it Chewy. But it's actually Baka because all their animals begin with the letter B. Whatever, it's still Chewbacca. I forget what the name is. That one's Brownie, I think. I can't remember which one. But, so when you look at the picture, the only way you can know what the dog is thinking is by how she's reacting. We don't know what she's thinking. There was a picture that I missed, I just barely missed, where she was nose to nose with the guinea pig. And then she went, and licked the guinea pig. And the guinea pig did not seem afraid at all, even though the other one, which was hiding because it had been partially, didn't really get chewed on, but just tasted. What other behaviors could be exhibited here? Good letter? Well, guinea pigs aren't the most playful little creatures. They're both curious, yeah. Now, okay, so I don't know in a guinea pig psyche and the mentality of a guinea pig, do they understand dog body language? But I understand dog body language. I speak Labrador. Do anybody have a Labrador in here? Excellent. Labs are great. This works extremely well with pit bulls, German short-haired pointers, most terriers. Okay. What you do is you stop in front of them, okay, and go on the ground. Like that. Why do you do that on the ground in front of them? What are you communicating to them? Play. Game on. And then, if they go stomp, 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 they are saying, challenge accepted. Do not do this as a Doberman Pinscher. Doberman Pinschers, when they play for keeps. Our neighbors have one named Baron. It passed away now. It was up this high. Done. And when it went to play, you're like, oh crap. Because when it would bite, a lab, when it bites you playing, does it hurt? No. A pit bull, when it's playing, does it hurt? No. You get slobber all over you, but it doesn't hurt. Okay? If you do the play back and the thing plays back, it'll immediately lunge at you, but it's not going to hurt you. It's going to play. Well, sometimes a pit bull will put the shoulders into you and knock you over. I love pit bulls. But my family doesn't want me to have a big dog that stinks and sheds, so we have Fluffy. We call it the Emasculated Man's Dog Walking Club. Pinky up, let's go skip our little white fluffy dog. A lot of people in our neighborhood have them. Okay, so if you understand behavior, and if you understand reactions, can you interact with dogs very, very easily? Yes. By knowing the breed and by knowing the reactions of a dog, you can interact with a dog very quickly. Do you go up and pet a German Shepherd? Generally, no. Can you go up and pet a lab? Yes. And it would be so great if people were like this, but are people like this? No, humans have this thing called the mind. Dogs might have a mind, but it's different than ours. Okay, and so let me just find another. There's the boy. She's passed away now. This is our black lab Nala. We discovered that after she died, we don't need a vacuum. The drill's good, nice. Okay. I don't know why the Dakar Rally is on here, but anyway. So let's talk about what psychology studies and what it actually is. Let me put this up here. So what I'll do is I have this thing, and I will get better at my handwriting as the semester goes on here. I say that every year, and it never gets any better. So Psychology is the study of the mind. Okay, that's the word mind, just in case you can't read my scribble. If you laugh, but does it look much different than my handwriting on the board? No, just so you know. Okay, so what is the mind then? How do we study the mind? Yeah. Okay, so mental processes are another word for thoughts, memory, feelings. Those are mental processes. Something that I suffer from. Why do you think I drink coffee? It doesn't even me out. It helps me focus and helps me pay attention. Every year since my first year of teaching at San Diego State, I've always had a cup of coffee when teaching. And every so often I'll have like too much coffee, I get arrhythmia. If you drink too much coffee, you get heart flutters. Don't get old, kids. So sometimes I'll have decaf, sometimes I'll have tea. I love tea, but really, it's not coffee. Okay. So, but by medicating, what do I fix? My attention. It doesn't really fix it, but does it help it focus for a while? Yeah. So the study of the mind through behaviors and mental processes, what is it? Why do psychologists do this? Why? But to understand, so what? Why do we need to understand it? Yeah, there we go. To help people, we also want to describe and explain. We understand, describe, and explain in order to help people. Most psychologists work in the counseling field. If you look at the numbers of degrees that psychologists give out, most people go into the helping field. What do you need? What kind of degree in psychology you need to do this? What specifically? What degrees do you need? Can you do any sort of counseling with your bachelor's degree or associates? Technically, if you get an AA in psychology, your AAT, you can start working at a drug treatment facility, and after 6,000 or 8,000 hours of practicum, you can become a licensed drug counselor just with an AA in sight. But where are you getting your education? On-the-job experience. And honestly, for any job, what makes you good at doing the job? Doing the job. That's why I suggest if anybody, whatever your major is, it doesn't matter, volunteer at what you think you want to do. My daughter wants to be a special ed teacher, and so she works with the Circle of Friends at Patrick Henry. And because she works with these kids with developmental delays and birth defects and autism and Down syndrome, she loves it. She found a good career for herself. When I got my degree, so I have my master's degree in psychology. Okay, I did not go get my PhD because in order to get my PhD, it would require lots of more research. I love doing research. However, as my person I used to work for, Dr. Riley, said, he goes, "Why are you doing this?" I have a problem. I'm not the most detail-oriented person. I'm very much like my daughter. If you're a research scientist, what do you have to be? Hyper detail-oriented, like psychotically detail-oriented. And because I'm not the most detail-oriented, as I worked at a lab, I did a really good job, but it just took me a lot of extra time. I had an ulcer the entire time I was working at a research lab. And the only time that I was happy was when I was teaching. And so my professor goes, "Why don't you just go teach?" I'm like, well, that's a novel concept. Because in my brain, I always wanted to be the research psychologist, working at the lab, studying the brain, being awesome. But then I realized that I hated it. Oh. So that's why I got my high school teaching credential, and that's why I followed my teaching way. I didn't go get my PhD. I'm eventually, as soon as my son starts tipping out of high school in about 5 years from now, 6 years from now, then I'll go back and probably get my PhD. For no other reason, just to take a spot from someone who really deserves it. But a lot of my students have come back after getting their PhD. One of my students is going to be teaching here next semester, who was one of you a bunch of years ago. Not that many years ago, really. And it's cool because when you get your PhD, then you can become a licensed psychologist. If you want to get an MD, what can you become? Psychiatrist. What's the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist? Yeah. Okay, and my sister is a psychiatrist. Technically my wife's sister, but I like her more than my wife does, so she's my sister. We were at Universal Studios when they opened for the Harry Potter exhibit. We were there like the week before they opened it because my sister worked for Kaiser. And so they let all the Kaiser doctors in after they closed Universal Studios to go through the Harry Potter thing. And all the people that were working there were super tired because they didn't want to be there, but it was after it was closed. It was awesome. Anyway, so we're walking through the Harry Potter land, and there was the characters running around. And my sister goes, "Oh, there's Ron." My wife goes, "Who's Ron?" So I grab my sister by the arm. We walk away from my wife. She's like, "What?" She's never read any of the books. She can't stand science fiction, fantasy stuff. Anyway. So my sister works with people like schizophrenia. She works with people with severe bipolar disorder. She works with people with severe depression, severe anxiety. She works with the really very seriously ill mental people. I have my friend Jackie, who is a clinical psychologist. She has her master's degree, and she is what's called an MFT. What does MFT stand for? Marriage and Family Therapist. I'm going to write another word up here, LCSW. Licensed clinical social worker. MFTs and licensed clinical social workers are the same people. They have a different focus on their idea of helping people. Clinical social workers are there, we call those the triage psychologists. Something bad happens, there's a bad car accident, there's a kid left on the side of the road alive, and parents are all smooshed. Who shows up? The social worker. And the social worker is there to help counsel and help provide resources and to triage, get that person functional now. The MFT is a person who looks at someone who is being functional and helps them become more functional. They have the same licensure, they have the same training, they just have a different specialization. We have a very good social work program here at Cuyamaca. We're building it up so we're trying to develop a stronger degree program for social work because there's a lot of need for social workers in our country. And it's the same thing with therapists, is that how do you become a good therapist? Practice. It's practice. And it's all of these, why do you think it takes years to get these? It just takes a long time to learn how to practice. Can anybody just roll out of bed and become a therapist? Mm-mm. I mean, I would really like to go get my therapy, my MFT, but I have a problem which I care too much. Well, it's weird, but my sister can have this really amazing, person suicidal, talking to them, getting them off of the suicidal path, and then step out of her office and then talk to them on the phone like nothing happened. And then step back in the room and be completely absorbed in her patient. How the heck do you turn the switch? And it's actually called detachment. And some people can do that. A lot of doctors can do that. They see someone who is terminally ill 1 minute, and then they walk to their office and they go, and they walk to the next person who sprained their knee skiing and talks about their ski trip. I can't do that. So when we did a class called the personality assessment class, like 351, I think, at San Diego State, where we all did personality assessments, and she told us a story about a kid that was abused and everything else, and the next class goes, how many people are still thinking about that story? And like half of us raised our hands. She goes, you're not going to become therapists. Because what would happen if you brought all of your... It really would weigh on you a lot. And some people can just click. It's really amazing. Okay. Whew. Not too much, right? Pretty easy so far? Okay, so where did psychology come from? Actually, before we get there, let's talk about this. What is this? We talked about it a little bit up here. Yeah. So, okay. Whoa, sorry. Is perception the same as reality? Okay, so watch this. Social functioning. Oh no. Because what's around you? Everybody else. They're all looking at me. So all of a sudden you have all these other people who are also looking at reality. But what do they have? Their own perspective. So can we scientifically test this idea that somebody else has a mind? Well, we can do it through YouTube and my son. Okay, I love this video. Got it. Okay, there's a mountain bike ride. That was boring. Want to watch the stats video? They're awesome. Okay, so does baby Caleb have a mind? We'll take a break after that.
Okay, Caleb. You ready? You like those keys, huh?
8 months old. Okay, so we're describing his reaction here, but thinking of this as a good psychologist. Evil psychologist dads do this to their babies every time they have a baby. Like, okay, object permanent test, yes. Okay, what you do is you take an object that they like, the keys. Why do babies like keys? They make noise and they seem to be important. Parents are always worried about where they are. Therefore, babies go, that is gold right there. Okay. So I give Caleb the keys, and then I take him away and put him under his blanket. Being the horrible photographer that I am, I didn't show you putting him under the blanket. But I realized that halfway through.
Look.
How do we know he likes the keys? He makes happy baby sounds. How do we know How do we know that he misses the keys when I take them away? So I can look at his basic behavior and see that he's happy when he has them and he's sad when he doesn't have them. So I guess, good English writer, thank you. I assume that his thoughts are he wants the keys, right? Okay.
Okay, ready? Watch this.
I got this, Dad.
There they are.
All I do is cover him up with a blanket. Well, I don't know what he thinks. He knows he doesn't have the keys. His mind is now. His perspective is now. So when I asked you what we did 3 minutes ago, his 3 minutes ago don't exist. We'll do that. Yeah, they do, because if his 3 minutes ago doesn't exist, he wouldn't cry. I have the keys, I don't have the keys. I've got the keys. If anybody has one of these little things running around their house, they're really fun because you can play this game called Peekaboo, and it's hours of entertainment. All you have to do is take a piece of paper or a piece of cardboard box and go like this. And the baby will be belly laughing for days. And it's so much fun, to the point where my daughter would always get really laughing and then burp. Okay.
Where are the keys?
What keys? I want them though. He's even looking where they were. Yeah, they are.
Okay, one more
Does he have
try.
the physical ability to reach out and grab them? Yes. He has the physical capability to move the blanket. What doesn't he have? It's called the theory of mind. He doesn't have the ability to know that if I move the blanket, I'll get the keys. He just doesn't know that if I move the blanket, I'll get the keys. He knows the keys are there, but he doesn't have the ability to think where. What perspective is missing in Caleb? Right. Not others. Not close. That's next. He doesn't have the future. Okay, so we'll just do this last little thing and then we'll take a quick break. But there is, and then write this up here, our perspective is past, now, and future. And others. This is seriously complicated stuff. We can think from our perspective now, we can think of how we thought in the past. And this is the most complicated part of this, and this is why psychology is so fascinating, especially when somebody mentioned it up here, is how other people will think and why other people do things, is we have to think of what will someone else think who's looking at it from a different perspective. It's really challenging. So he is stuck at the past and now. What's missing with him? Future. Okay? So the annoying thing is, why 8 months easy, 9 months difficult? They grasp future. All of a sudden, an 8-month-old, you sit them on the rug with some toys, and what do? They play with the toys. A 9-month-old looks at the toys and immediately goes, what's over here? How fast can a 9-month-old crawl? Very fast. Do you have one?
No.
Oh, okay. And yeah, so every kid somewhere around 7 to 9 months moves the blanket. And each subsequent child will learn it faster. Oldest child, 8, 9 months. Second child, 7 months. Third child, 6 months. Even though they can barely even sit up, what do they have? Examples. They learn from other minds around them. And if you actually, it's hard when parents have 3 or 4 kids, you can't remember specific dates for each one. Guess what your brain does? Averages them. It averages them. You kind of like, well, you did this at... That's why if you write everything down, you start to realize that the younger one grows mind faster. Well, that's what I was going to say. The younger siblings generally do better in school, but the older siblings generally have more confidence. So you have to, what makes you successful? There is no right answer for that, by the way. And so everybody, that's why like in cultures where the families have very large families, it's interesting that the younger generations of the large families excel compared to the older generations. In families where they only have 1 or 2 children, the lower kids don't excel as fast as if they have large families. Yeah.
Do you ever stop doing that? Like when you're like, or as you get older, do you realize you're learning from that sibling and continue to do it?
I think there's a point between the age of 17 and 26, where a lot of you are, is where your brain goes, I got it. But that's when your personality solidifies, and that's up to about the age of 26, your brain kind of stops growing, and you start consolidating. And that's why it's so, I mean, one of the reasons I don't have pre-prepared slides, and I don't have my giant notebook with my old examples in it, like Dr. McGrevy, he's retired, he would have the same yellow piece of notes that he's been using for 35 years that he's been teaching. I refuse to do that because I don't want to do the same thing every semester. I change what I'm doing every semester, which really sucks when I have to write the final every semester again. Because it's really hard. And a lot of times, the first time I write it, the questions, luckily my TAs are smart enough now that they can help me write the questions. I tell them, I write the question, then they turn it into English. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they don't. So you'll see some of the exam questions are very poorly written. Anyway, so every year you do learn, but do some people not learn? What's one way to not learn? What's one way? I'm going to circle this to help you understand it. One way I like circling that. What could you do to your sensation and perception so that you stop learning? Okay. Do the same thing all the time. No. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Yeah. And I wouldn't say that insanity is a legal definition of not knowing the difference between right and wrong. But so that little phrase that you said comes from the 12-step program. You can, like, if you think, well, I can control myself drinking this time. No, you can't. That's one of the nice things about being partially diabetic. If I have more than 2 beers, I'm so wrecked the next day just because my stomach's all distended and I'm all full of fluid and it's awful. Yeah. Well, if you do it right, if you do things correctly. Back in my former days, I was a shot put discus thrower. I threw shot put discus and hammer. And it's funny that I don't throw anymore because I'm old, but I can still. Okay, but I can still do my little turn. I can still throw a discus. It hurts a significant more now than it used to. But I mean, every so often I have a couple discuses at home, this guy, and I'll go out and throw just for no good reason. And I can still throw about as far as I did in high school. I'm not as strong as I was, but I'm not as strong as I was in college, but why can I still throw? It's not muscle memory, it's behavior, it's practice. I've done that so many freaking times. The same thing is like one of the things I'm learning right now how to do is do wheelie hops on my bicycle. Wheelie hops where you bounce in the back wheel and hop. Okay, and I've been working on it for about 3 years now. Okay, I'm not very good at it. But a really good friend of mine, Brian Jennings, got killed in a bicycling accident last spring. And he did trials mountain biking stuff where you ride your bicycle over things. I got a trials bike because he had one, and we rode together, and then he got killed, so his wife gave me his trials bike. And so I've been practicing on that one now, and I can get on top of a picnic table. That's about it, though, and then the old people yell at me at the park, get off the picnic table on your bicycle. And me and the other 12-year-olds are like, let's go buy some steaks. Okay. But it's one of those things that, why learn how to do something stupid? Especially when you're 48. No, it doesn't. You get older every day. Sorry, it doesn't. No, but it does keep your brain from doing the same thing all the time. And it gives you new perspective on things. When I ski with what's called a lurk. It's a 7-foot-long ski pole. It's, I don't YouTube, but we'll do this and I'll take a break. Not the fly rod. There's my wife reading. This is the lurk. That's my ski pole. It's actually about, now I just added the ski tip at the end. A gentleman up on the mountain broke his ski pole in half. Like, oh, can I have the tip? He's like, you're weird. Sure. And so now I have this is my ski pole. Back in the 1800s, that's how they used to ski. With one giant, usually made out of ash, but I don't have access to ash. I live in San Diego, so I have access to bamboo. And so you use it as a lever when you're turning. And I telemark, so you turn by, I do this with my giant ski pole. It's awesome. And my pants are like 6 sizes too big. My wife called me Santa Claus the other day. Shut up. But it's one of those things where like the guys in the lift call me Lurk Dude. What's up, Lurk Dude? Okay, because it's called Lurk. Anyway. But why be stupid? Why be different? To change perspective. If all you do is watch the same news channel, what do you learn? That perspective. And then something happened with journalism in the last 15 or 20 years, is that, and especially Google's hugely at fault. When I search for things, which perspective do the results come in? The way that I like to find information. So what does that do to your perspective? It narrows it. It biases what the perspective of your world is, what your real world is. Because my friend's son is like full-on 100% Trump supporter, which is interesting because he's African-American and Hispanic. His family's from Mexico. My friend Henry, his parents are African-American. And he's become full-on Trump supporter. What does he do all day? Watch it, not CNN. Oh, Trump supporters don't watch CNN. The anti-Trump crowd watches CNN. CNN is all anti-Trump all the time. And it's like, and Fox is all pro-Trumpy most of the time. And it's interesting because are either one true? Not fully. They leave out certain bits of information purposely so that because it is not news anymore, it's advertising. It's who's going to watch that. It's news with opinion added. I got really shouted at by my wife and friends about, look at this. Okay. I'm talking to my phone, so what does Google do? Suggest things that matched what I'm talking to with my phone. Anyway, I'm not sure why getting dressed in the 18th century is working. Women has to do with it, but that's okay. But when you only get one perspective of things, if you only hear the one side of things, you take mind away. Okay, so let's take a little bit of a break here for about 10 minutes, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you how we test the theory of mind. Okay. Okay. So let me stop the recording.